With our project loaded and open, ready to go, we're going to start taking a look around the key features, the core elements of the Unreal Engine editor. In future topics, I do have it outlined and planned that we're going to go through tweaking and updating some of the settings and project defaults once we're more familiar with the editor and what exactly we're changing. I didn't want to jump into that straight away just because we wouldn't even know what we're affecting without looking at the editor for a little while. With that in mind, though, there are a couple of changes that I want to make now very quickly, just because the Unreal Engine notoriously is somewhat heavy when it comes to performance and specification requirements, and I can already hear mine whirring in the background just to have a mostly empty level like this open. So we're going to make some very quick changes here, especially for those of you who may be on systems or hardware not quite able to keep up. So the first thing to be aware of is that when you open the project, even if you aren't doing anything, as we are right now, just sat here with the editor open, it is trying to run everything happening in the background as a simulation. So if we did have things like particle effects, for example, dust or rain that we may want to visualize, it would be trying to run that. And for that reason, we're already having quite a big performance hit. We can very easily turn this off. So in the left side of this big window here that we'll go into, this is called the viewport. If we click into this little settings button here, we just want to turn off real time. So this is what is trying to force this to simulate a kind of a live update, even when we're outside of play mode. I'm just going to turn that off, and I can already hear that my PC's calmed down just a little bit to the side there. So that's the first thing. And then to the right-hand side of the screen, we have another settings option over here. So this is our project and editor settings. If you do have any issues, if it's already quite stuttery, we can see at the top, I've got a frame rate indicator here. If yours is lagging or a little bit stuttery at the moment, then what you can do is we'll just go down to the engine scalability. By default, because we chose the maximum settings, it will have this set to epic, which is trying to keep everything looking as crisp and have the shadows as detailed as possible. Cinematic, we tend to use more for final renders. We often won't put this even in games. You won't often use the cinematic settings. But then if you do need to tone things down a lot, we can make this low, medium, or high. And you can see here that this will just default set everything for the texture quality, the shadow quality, everything which is going to have a big impact here. We can lower that immediately. I'm going to keep mine at epic because it's actually fine on my system as it is. The main thing is just turning off the real time for me. But I just wanted to let you know that you do have options to change these. And I wouldn't play around with them straight away. If your system is fine, changing this now will force the system potentially to do a complete recompile, because if you are making these changes, some of them can have big knock-on effects to those shaders that I've mentioned. So it may need to recompile a few thousand shaders. So unless you absolutely need to, I would avoid using these right now. So I just wanted to let you know that they are the options just before we start looking through the editor. With that mentioned and out of the way, hopefully everybody can now follow along comfortably with their system not trying to self-destruct. We can now look at the core features of the editor that we're currently presented with. The Unreal Engine notoriously is somewhat cluttered. People do find the interface to be a little bit overwhelming when they first open this. There are a lot of different buttons, a lot of different sections. So we'll just go through this step by step to get you comfortable with what we're looking at, and you'll find that it's actually much less intimidating than you might think at first glance. So the first and most obvious thing that we have here is our viewport. So this has our level currently being displayed, which at the moment is just made of a simple terrain. We can move around this and we will get to the button layouts and things like that a little bit later. But at the moment, just know that this is where we would be building our game. We can come in here. We have live access to drag and drop things in and really start fleshing out our different levels, production sets you might be working on. Whatever the goal is, you'll have a viewport that you'll be working in. And this is where the core content that you'll be creating will kind of be managed and housed. Just above this, we have our main toolbar. So everything up here is kind of classed as the main toolbar. The important things that we'll find here, we have a creation mode. So we can quickly add new objects into our viewport through here. So for example, if we wanted a cube to start blocking things out, we can select to have a cube created, and we can start placing these objects in the world and moving them around. On top of that, we also have things like our play and stop mode options here. So if we wanted to come in and play and simulate things, this will give us the option to come, test the level, move around, and see exactly what the process would look like during runtime. We have different options here that we can drop down regarding how these play, whether we want to play in the viewport that we're currently selected in. We can open up a new window if we wanted to see exactly what the resolution would look like in certain presets. So we can somewhat simulate a packaged game mode or deployment that you may be giving to a client, for example. And then on top of that, we have the option from here as well to package our projects to things like the Android platforms. We can do a Windows build here. We'll just have some cool options. If you have all of the Android Studio and the setup included, we can connect this directly to a device and get this to debug and play through the device from options like this. Some of the other things you'll find in the main toolbar, we have our file options, so your standard creation of new levels, new objects, saving everything, and so on can be done here. Some of the project and editor preferences we'll see through the edit option, and other very similar things that you may come to expect if you're working with even 2D software like Photoshop, your Adobe suites and things like that, or other 3D tools where you'll have your application and window specific tools and options available all up here as well. Obviously, we don't need to be aware of and understand all of these when we're first getting started, just to let you know that these do exist. And that's one of the things I think can make this much less daunting, is just try and take things in as and when you start needing them. We can start looking at different parts of what the Unreal Engine provides for you. The next core thing we have to the right-hand side is this box here called the Outliner. So we can see we have something called the Outliner. There's another tab just below this that we'll get to in a moment, but the Outliner is this specific box just here. This is essentially a list of all of the objects in your current level. This allows you to select, hide, delete objects, and make these changes very quickly in real time. And everything is synced essentially from your viewport to the Outliner. So what I mean by that is if I select a chunk of terrain just here, the landscape, that chunk of landscape has also been selected in the Outliner. Obviously vice versa, if I select a chunk of landscape here in the Outliner, we can come and have a look in the viewport and we can see that that's this section in the distance that I've just selected. So these two, you can work kind of hand in hand with each other. It can especially be very useful in bigger projects. When you have many more objects than this, you may not be able to select something which is occluded by a bunch of landscape or buildings or something, but you can find it in the Outliner. We can set things up to tidy this up for us as well. So the landscape, for example, is all nested under the main landscape object. And then likewise, we have folders or grouping for things specific to your lighting setup, the levels of detail, and so on. So just another quick example here. We have a directional light, which is responsible for all of the light in this world, which is this object just here. And we can select between these in the Outliner, and you can see that the widgets are being changed here depending on what I have selected. Next up, we have the details panel. Just below the Outliner is our details panel. If you're really paying attention there, you may have noticed that as I'm switching between these different objects in the Outliner, or even in the viewport, that information is being updated in the details panel as well. So this is just another element which kind of works in tandem with the other two. What we have in the viewport, just to try and kind of bring this back into context here, in the viewport is a visualization of our entire world. All of the objects that are making up our world, level, map, whatever you want to call it, are all here for us to work with in real time to quickly make changes and visual updates. And we can tweak things. As an example, when I say live updates, we can change the light here to completely change the settings of the light properties that we have in our world. And we do that through the viewport. All of the objects which are in our viewport for quick and easy access, we can get these from our Outliner. And then the details about the individual objects, so the properties that make up the objects that we're working with, can be found in our details panel. And this contains things like information about, let's have a look at our sun again. It contains information about where it is in the world, so the location, the entire transform, which is the location, the rotation, and the scale of this object. If I were to move this up in the world, then we can see here the information, the details about the location is being increased or decreased as I move this through the world. Every different object that we work with will potentially have different properties. Things like our directional light here has information about the intensity of the brightness. We can change all of that through the details panel here. The color of light that it's casting, and many other things like that. And of course, as you're switching through objects that you're selecting, either through the viewport or the Outliner, the information that you're being presented in the details panel will change to reflect the object that you currently are interacting with. And the final core element of the editor that we'll be working with quite often is our content drawer. So it's currently actually tucked away and hidden in the bottom left-hand side of the screen. You can see here we have something called the content drawer. If we click this, this will pop open and we can drag this up just here to make this larger or smaller. And this is where we will hold all of the content that we either import have provided through templates or bring into the project ourselves. At the moment, it's saying that this is empty because we haven't at this point created anything or imported anything to our project. Remember that I said we'll start with a completely blank project. We do have a folder just here showing the engine content. This is probably only switched on for me because of changes I've made in other projects. If you are seeing this, it's not something that we need to look at. It's basically a lot of different folders that we have here of all of the stuff that just comes pre-packaged with the engine by default. So this always exists, but we don't really need to see it. If you do have this shown and you want to get rid of it because it just takes up that extra bit of space and can kind of confuse things, especially when you're getting started, I'm just going to go over to the right-hand side of the content drawer here to this settings option. And this is one thing, I'll just take a very quick breakaway here. One thing to be aware of with Unreal Engine, they do use the same term and sort of buttons, but it's quite often contextual. So the settings button that we have up here is different to the settings button that we have just here. So this one is contextual to our project and editor, the overall kind of layout and project that we have going, whereas this one is contextual to this window here, the content drawer that we're in. It can be very useful. Having everything being contextual is obviously going to be very convenient. I just think it can confuse new developers, so do be aware of that. But we'll drop this down. We'll drop down these settings. We're going to go to our show options here. And what we want to do is we want to untick the show engine content. So we'll just untick that. It keeps everything nice and clean and tidy. We can get rid of those things that we won't be using for now. And we can always turn this back on a little bit later if we do want to make use of the engine content. One thing that I will also mention is that if you do have that enabled and you can see these, do not change or make any edits to the objects in here. Don't delete any of these. Don't make any changes, because we can come into, for example, what is called a material instance here, and we can make changes to the properties of this. Now, this engine content is shared between every project that you make in this version of Unreal. So for me, this was 5.3, and this is going to be what the engine is using as the core properties for all projects made in that same version. So having access to this is very useful to take reference from things, or we can make duplicates and copies of these, but we do not want to make any changes to the actual content inside of the engine folder here, which is another reason I find it's quite nice just to keep this switched off for now. Just to wrap up the content drawer, this is where we'll be adding all of our content as we go through, as we start bringing in assets to build out our levels, as we start creating our blueprints to house our code. This is where we'll be finding and storing all of this. One other thing which is really useful here is we have a shortcut to hide or show the content drawer, which is holding Control and space. So I've just pressed it there and that will make it go away. And if I press it again, that will pop that up. So Control and space will show or hide the content drawer. If you're familiar with the Unreal Engine 4, or if you're seeing content made with the Unreal Engine 4, you may be familiar with a view which looks more like this. The content drawer used to be docked, but it just takes up that extra bit of screen space, that real estate, which is otherwise useful for the viewport here. Some people who are more familiar with Unreal Engine 4 still prefer having this available so that it's always here ready to work with. So there is that option I just wanted to mention if you did want to dock that. If you just made that same change, we can just press the X button here and that will get rid of this. And then that just leaves us with the hiding and showing option here. So we've got the option just to do that a little bit more slowly. The option here to dock in layout if you wanted that to be here permanently. If you decide otherwise, we can remove that. And then we can just toggle this with Control in space. It's a useful shortcut to commit to memory early because you will be using that quite a lot. Every time you wanted to access something or create something new, you hit Control space, you get to your content drawer, and you provide a location or find the location of the object you're looking for. The final takeaway just to mention here is that everything is very customizable as well. So if you're not happy with the layout, if you come from a software package where maybe everything's kind of similar but inverted, for example, Unity has a lot of these windows on the left-hand side of the screen. That's more than possible to achieve. So we can grab the tab here where you've got the X. This is our tab. We can drag this across and you see it has a grid formation that it tries to adhere to. So we can drop this on the left part of the grid and we can make the same changes down here with our details and world settings and things like that. So we can tuck all of these back over with each other. So it's now very similar, but it's just inverted where these are. If you wanted it more along the top for whatever reason, we can do essentially whatever we wanted with our outliner here. If you're making these changes, and the reason I wanted to mention this now is I'd recommend just playing around with some of these, seeing the different options you have available between the videos, just take a break 5-10 minutes to play around with the different outliners, see if you feel more comfortable with the content drawer being dragged up and held open or docked. Just kind of get comfortable essentially with the different options available. If you make mistakes now, that's fine. We have a completely empty project, very easy to get back to this stage, so this is a good time to make those mistakes, but also it's easy to fix everything. So it can be a little bit easier when you're starting out with something to follow along with the content as is kind of shown in the videos. So if you wanted to get everything back, if you're making these changes, we can just go to Window, we can go to Load Layout, and we can change this to the default editor layout. And also, just to recap there, like I mentioned, if you do have experience with the Unreal Engine 4 and you wanted it to look more like it did in the past, we had this place actors option on the side there. Everything looks very similar on the right hand side, and then that constant content browser at the bottom. That was achieved by just going to Load Layout and the UE4 Classic. What I'll do though is I'll just press the default editor layout here because I quite like working with the new Unreal Engine 5 layout. So this is the one I'll be storing. But that was just to show you that it's very easy to make these changes, test things, and then if something goes wrong, just revert it to how it was previously. If you're missing windows as well, another thing to keep in mind is we can toggle these on and off in the window setting here. So for example, just a moment ago, I had some information about the world settings. If you want that back, we just need to look for the world settings option here. We'll click this and it will create a new tab for us over here. Just to say that if you did something like close the outliner entirely and you weren't sure how to get that back, to return the outliner, we just go up here, go to outliner, outliner 1, and we'll have one of those docked back up here for us. And that will happen for any of the windows that we can see by default. So we've got the outliner, the details, world settings, and so on. And just like I mentioned a moment ago, if you're not sure what these are and you wanted to see, then just play around, click on the levels, see what that gives you. If you don't need it, you can remove it. If you're not sure how to get everything back to how it was, just remember Load Layout, Default Editor Layout. So that's the basics of the Unreal Engine editor. As I said, it can look quite daunting, but it's actually quite easy to work with. There's a lot of information, but we don't need to know all of it right now. And we'll be picking up much more on exactly what all of the features are, what we have available, and how to use them as we go through.